I'm Dr. Angela McKaye, chiropractor and naturopathic physician, and it is What's Good Wednesday. And we are talking about men's health the whole month of November. This week in particular, we're talking about prostate health. So I want to talk about ways to prevent hormonal issues that could lead from the most common problem with the prostate is benign prostatic hypertrophy or swelling of the prostate. And that's often linked to testosterone converting to dihydrotestosterone. So we want to balance out the hormones to prevent that crossover and hopefully leave your prostate in a healthier place. One of the first things to do is deal with your stress. When you're stressed, your cortisol rises and causes a whole lot of problems of abdominal weight gain or visceral fat or belly fat kind of thing. And that increases inflammation and it increases estrogen and it will throw your hormones completely out of whack. It leads to a feeling of fatigue and your adrenals are already like whacked out from having to push out cortisol. That leads to fatigue. And so you just feel tired and sluggish and So dealing with stress is the number one thing to help support your hormone balance that I can think of. Additionally, when we talk about that, I really like to talk about increasing fiber. So making sure that you have a really great varied source of fiber in your diet can be really important. It helps with your gut health, and fiber also binds to excess cholesterol that you don't want hanging around and leading to heart disease. It also binds to excess hormones that your body doesn't need and carries them out via your stool so that it doesn't break down and turn into, dihydrotestosterone or, funky forms of hormones that you're trying to get rid of as a waste product. If you are more of a meat and potatoes person, there's nothing wrong with that, but you do have to get the fiber in there somewhere and you need a lot of the nutrition that's in other things. So if you have a real big aversion to vegetables, one thing that I've had work for other people is they go to the Asian market. Like around here we have Uwejimaya, and they go in and get exotic fruits and vegetables, things they've never heard of before, things they don't know if they like or not because they've never tried it, and then just start experimenting with sort of more exotic plant foods and see if there's something in there. So that can be really fun, and then you're not just stuck eating broccoli every single night. Normally about 5% of your testosterone is converted to dihydrotestosterone, and that happens along a pathway that uses an enzyme called 5-alpha reductase. So I'm going to talk to you about some natural products that reduce the activity of 5-alpha reductase so that it's not transferring the testosterone to dihydrotestosterone, which we talked about already leads to swelling in the prostate as well as male pattern baldness. So one of the really common and easy things that slows down that process or blocks it is green tea. So the ECGC in green tea blocks the 5-alpha reductase pathway. So that can be one way that's pretty easy. Just make yourself a cup of tea a couple times a day to reduce that. Coconut oil, in particular, the medium chain triglyceride lauric acid blocks that pathway as well. And I think coconut oil in general does well in high heats, can be used for a lot of different foods, and in general is a decent fatty acid that you can use. Other things like onion, spinach, kale, asparagus, berries, all of those are high in quercetin. And if you've heard me talk, I talk about quercetin a lot because it's really good for dealing with allergies. It's also a potent antioxidant. It's also a zinc ionophore, which means that it helps transport zinc into the cell instead of just hanging out outside the cell, which can be helpful for your immune system. But the quercetin also works as a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor. And then turmeric, which has been really well studied for reducing inflammation. Like turmeric's had just a big heyday in the past 5 to 10 years where it's been really well researched for a lot of different things, and it's a great anti-inflammatory, but it may also disrupt the 5-alpha reductase pathway. And then pumpkin seeds, those are a great source of zinc and can be very helpful in increasing fertility. They also have some magnesium and other antioxidants. Those have been linked to increased sperm production, so if you're trying to get pregnant, that can be helpful. Edamame, which is young soybeans, that's often an appetizer, and soy isoflavones can be really helpful. You have to be careful with soy because too much soy can have an estrogenic effect, and in general I like fermented soy. Soy isoflavones also can be really helpful for cholesterol levels, and they can have a lot of other benefit, and in moderation that's fine. So I wouldn't want you to have some soy protein powder smoothie 3 times a day every day, but once a day or 3 times, 4 times a week is totally fine. Fenugreek, which is a spice and a seed, that can also block dihydrotestosterone formation, and it also helps with blood sugar. So if you're doing dual duty and you're on the edge of diabetes and have high blood sugars, then fenugreek may be helpful for you. Lycopene, which you may be familiar with, it's in tomatoes and a lot of red colored foods. That also has been shown to reduce dihydrotestosterone and insulin-like growth factor. So that can be really helpful for both prostate support and hair growth. That includes not just tomatoes, but grapefruit and apricots, guava, watermelon, all have lycopene in them. So there's a whole bunch of food things to try and start incorporating into your diet if you are concerned about too much dihydrotestosterone, enlarged prostate, otherwise known as BPH, or male pattern baldness and hair loss. I will see you again on Tactical Thursday.